So, how's your busy day?
Boring as hell. It's hard going back to work, man.
Dude, I felt refreshed. I got everything I needed accomplished.
Bro, tell me about the vacation. Start the show.
I don't think you're ready. You're stuffing your face.
Start that show.
I can't start it with your stuffed face. Welcome to episode 9 of Fantasy Friends. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Magellan. And this is the former reigning champ. I don't know what.
Well, any title that starts with former. The washed up. The deadbeat. The good for nothing.
Kimbo Merck.
Boo. Wait, which one do I cheer at, boo? What's up, brother? What's up, man? I feel like it's been like 2 weeks since we last talked.
Yeah, it has been 2 weeks.
I said it feels like it.
Yeah, well, not since we last talked, last did the podcast.
I mean, but since we last talked about something of substance, see, that's the problem with doing a podcast about your life, is that when something exciting happens and you want to call your buddy and you want to share it, he said, save it for the show.
That's you. So after 2 weeks, what have you been saving for the show?
I have literally been saving zilch for the show. I have nothing. Are you looking at your phone?
No.
We are recording. You better be ordering me flowers. No, man, I don't have anything that I've been saving for the show. I mean, a lot's happened. There was Christmas.
Which and, you don't like. Every time I ask you, you're like, it's another day.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you probably bummed out that day. When I asked you.
I was at work. Was I at work? If I was at work, yeah.
Yeah. Christmas is good. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Kids got presents. There was some gingerbreads bouncing in my head. I'm trying to think, man. The last few weeks, honestly, has been a blur because so much has happened.
Yeah.
You know, but of course, the big highlights being went to go see Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Did I babysit my nieces in between that time? I think I did.
Maybe.
Yeah. You know, Santa came. Not really. We don't do Santa. Daddy Claus came.
Daddy Claus.
I know I've spent a lot of time driving to stores and a lot of time at my mother's house.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, bro, it's like a smoky blur.
Yeah. So you're dying, is that's what you're telling us?
I'm dying. I'm like the dude from Ferris Bueller. I'm dying. I love that movie, by the way. It's one of my favorite movies. But that's about it, man. Yeah.
That's worst. This is nominated worst save it for the show segment ever.
I think I've won the title, bro. I'm like literally racking my brains trying to think if I've done anything exciting. And to be honest with you, there's nothing I've done to share on this show.
It's terrible.
Nothing shareable. Everything else, well, it's probably illegal, so I can't share it. What? Maybe once you get talking, I'll think about something. But no, man, what's been going on you? What have you been saving for the show?
I've been relaxing this last week. Drove down to Florida to go relax.
Now, how was the ride down? How was the drive down? I love actually taking road trips and driving.
It was on the way there. It wasn't me and my wife. We share duties now. She actually stepped in and wanted to help me drive.
Stepped up, yeah.
She just wanted to do it. She knew for me I could drive down there by myself, but she stepped in and she's been helping out the last couple of trips. And man, we were doing really well, and we hit. Literally, we're not talking stop and go or even 5 miles an hour traffic. We're talking dead stop. You can
go backwards.
You can lay your seat back and take a nap. That's how bad this was. And it was.
I've only been in traffic like that once.
It sucks, man, because we're on a road. We're going from point A to point B for vacation. It's not like, oh yeah, good, I'm 2 hours late for work. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I got a valid excuse. It's more like, okay, we're there, and then we hit this point, and then we stop. Man, we're sitting there for 2 hours, right about 2 hours, nonstop.
What do you do legally during those 2 hours?
Nothing. There's nothing you can do.
I mean, did you break out your iPhones or your pads? Do you just take a nap? What the hell are you doing?
Here's the thing that happened is this could have been the worst spot to break down technology-wise, because we were in a dead zone. Like there was no,
God.
like we didn't even have any service at all. And every service, like even when we got a little bit, it was like 3G, if that even exists anymore.
So then you're like waiting 10 minutes for like the ESPN page to load.
Yeah.
So they got so many videos on it. Ugh.
That's how it was, man. But once we got past that, somebody died or something. Who knows? But once that passed that, we just kept going and then enjoyed a great trip.
Okay, I said, wow.
Yeah. I guess,
look, dead body. Speed up, your ass.
Yeah, no, let's do this. Well, apparently, I guess the holdup was like somebody hit a pedestrian and killed them on the highway, and that shut down everything.
Okay.
And then, coincidentally, a separate accident happened where there was an oil tanker that spilled. So now you're dealing with the body cleanup, and then you're dealing with the oil cleanup. And then you gotta once that was highway secure, then you start pushing traffic. It was a pain, man, but we finally got there and we had a blast, man. It was great. It was Disney World and Universal Studios and just two adults being kids with no kids.
Being creepy in Disney World.
Dude, there were so many. It's funny because last time we were talking, one of our past episodes, we were talking about grown-ups with no kids going to those parks.
Yes.
You know how many, and I don't know why she brought it up, but we were there, and my wife was like, have you noticed how many people are here without kids? Dude, and it's like when you buy a new car.
Yes.
And then you see that car everywhere, same thing. You start looking, you're like, wow, man. And dude, I am serious. And nothing against people with kids and wanting them to make their kids happy and all that. I'm all for that.
Thanks.
But you look at the people there with kids and family, and then you look at like the couples that are there, man. You could tell who's part of a family and who's part of just going and having fun. Because once that lunchtime hits, man, families start dropping, kids start crying, fussing, like grandmas and grandpas are like laying down on the curb.
Just wore out, right?
And that's where I take that opportunity just to start pushing myself harder away from the crowds and hitting those rides when people are eating and taking advantage of it, man, it's interesting about adults going to Disneyland, right? Because Disney World's in Florida. California? Disneyland is in California.
I thought the bigger one was in the bigger state.
No, bigger one's in Florida.
Okay.
That's where they're doing their park too. I guess maybe they're doing park in both of them. But yeah, I mean, Disney World they got 4 parks over there. Okay.
Well, the interesting thing about that is, when you're younger, man, most people, they grow up with Disney. I mean, if you've been around in the last, 50 years, if not more, you grow up with Disney.
Mm-hmm.
You're excited about, Disney World, Disneyland, depending on what side of the country you live on. And problem is your parents can't afford it, or you can't afford it, and so when you finally hit an age that you can afford it, of course you're an adult.
Yeah.
And you might have kids, or like in your case, you might not.
Yeah.
Heck, why not go, man? You know what? Disney, which one you go to?
I went to Disney World.
Disney World is a lot like adults getting braces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
I say that because I work with a lot of adults who have braces. And I got a couple friends that got braces. It's like, you a little old for braces, ain't you? But they couldn't afford it when they were young. Now that they're older, they can afford it and got insurance. They go out and they get their teeth fixed. So congratulations on your dentist conference at Disneyland.
Yeah. How we gonna call you Bucktooth Bob when you got braces, Bob? Have you thought about that?
Bob got fed up and got a Invisalign. Not a paid sponsor of the show.
But it was good, man. It was good stepping away, just shutting it down, which I normally don't get to do, and just getting away, stepping away from everything. And it was awesome too, man, because one of our buddies, Wavo, lives in Florida,
right?
And it just so happened that your brother came down to Florida at the same time.
I need to tell you something.
Oh,
the guy's not my brother.
Shot to the heart.
Some random dude I met online, man. We were playing Call of Duty, bro. I was like, hey, you want to be my brother? He's like, yep. And so since then, we've been, yep. I'm a deacon, by the way.
But dude, it was awesome, man, because we all put it together, and it started out as a joke. Actually, it wasn't a joke. It was just kind of like, hey, well, let's see if we can all meet up, because I was going to meet up with Wave, and then Rick came down. I was like, I might see him, but he was coming when we were leaving, basically.
Right.
And we were just all, I think it was just us three that were on one particular day, and I was like, how sweet.
All right. I got to ask you.
Yeah.
All right. So, of course, we met earlier this year for the first time in person. What was it like meeting, you've already met Trigger, so what was it like meeting Wave for the first time? Other than him being like a complete foot taller than you?
Yeah.
What was it like? What did it feel like emotionally? Where were you at? Tell me.
Well, here's the thing, Danny. No, man, he called me and he was like, hey, man, we're outside. So I came outside and, there's this big jacked up hillbilly truck.
Right.
Then he steps out, his dad steps out, and, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Shook his hand and said, come on in, because I was.
Wait. You guys shook hands. You didn't hug.
No, we didn't hug, and I think the reason why.
Merc, 1 hug, Wavo, 0. All right, finish your story.
And I think the reason why I didn't is because I was actually started cooking because Rick got a late start that morning. Okay. So I had stuff going. And so I was like, hey, man, come on in. I'm cooking. And
breakfast?
Yeah, breakfast.
Okay.
So, and it was cool, man, because I was cooking, but he was there while I was focused on that. But, I started having some time where stuff was slowing down, where we were talking. I was, meeting his dad, talking to his dad, and then Rick came, and then his wife came, with him, and it was cool, man. It was like a surreal experience. It really was. It was like, man, I got these two people who I've known. It's different from whenever I went to Chicago and seen you, and then I seen Jay and then Rick all together, because you're all family and all from Chicago. Now it's different going down to Florida, meeting someone from Florida, but then meeting another guy from Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
So it's like 3 parts of the country, meeting on one day, which happened to be Christmas.
So where's everybody's wives and relatives at this point? I mean, are they kind of like 5 feet back from you guys? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
everybody was there. I mean, everybody was there. I think Rick's wife was, I think she was watching like Desperate Housewives or something.
Okay.
No, she was watching something on the way the house was, it was open. The kitchen was open to the living space.
Gotcha.
So we were all there. Nobody was kind of hiding anywhere. But no, man, we were all there, and then everybody kind of congregated around the kitchen area while we were cooking, and Rick was doing his omelets and everything, and just kind of finishing up, and it was just, I mean, it was just, man, it's just so weird because you think, man, you finally meet Wave, and then you see Rick again, but man, I've been talking and knowing these guys so long that it doesn't, it's like seeing like a college friend or something.
Right, and that's why I was asking, how did it hit you emotionally when you saw these guys? I mean, not Rick as much, but Wavo, because it was your first time meeting him.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you spend just about every night with the guy, you know what I mean?
And that's not
so
even gaming.
Yeah, that's not even gaming. That's not even including how much time you got to spend gaming.
But it was, man. It was just like, man, these are my buddies. We're here. We planned it. Not a big deal. And man, it really wasn't. We ate breakfast. You know, they followed me to the theater because we happened to go watch Star Wars. That was our plan because none of us had watched it. So we all decided to watch it together on Christmas. Right. So we went there, you know, watched the new Star Wars movie, and I mean that was it, man. I did get a wave hug at the end of the day, though.
Dude, did he like crush you?
No, he didn't. He was like picking me up in his arms like we were getting married.
I can just see him shaking little kids' hands, and just crushing them. Like they just pop every time. Hey, little kid, nice to meet you. Boom. Like, hey, little kid, nice to meet you. Boom.
Like if we were Star Wars, like and we all dressed up as something different, he would definitely be Chewie, like hands down.
Oh, he's gonna hate you said that, bro.
Like he would be just size wise. He's got the height.
You said that.
You know what I mean? He's got a wicked beard. Like it's really cool. I like his beard. I smelt it.
Oh, entirely way too much time together. What it smell like? Fireworks.
It smelled like wow.
Smell like gunpowder. Gunpowder and moonshine.
But it was good, man. It was good. Everything worked out well, and we watched a movie, which was the biggest thing we wanted to do together. That way we could essentially prepare for conversations and debates for The Force Awakens. So,
all right, so let's get into today's show then, because that's what we're going to talk about. Episode 9, we're going to talk about Star Wars: The Force Awakens. We are going to drop spoiler after spoiler after spoiler
alert. And the title of the show will be Star Wars Spoilers. So watch it if you want to. don't ruin it for yourself.
And dude, is there an ant on the back of your wall? What is that?
What?
That made you look.
We got to take a short break.
I'm sorry. I forgot what I was going to say. Yes. So this is the time now where you want to stop and turn off the podcast until you've seen the movie, because we're going to tear this movie a new one.
Ooh, yeah.
Coming for you, JJ. We coming for you.
Well, I got
George Lucas on my back and Bubble Fat in my hand, and we coming for you.
That's right.
Let's take a break and get back into the show.
It's morphin' time.
It's morphin' time.
Yeah, I was a Red Ranger. I actually had a Power Rangers birthday. They bought me the little costume with the plastic face.
They were like the little cheap ones that, like, if they cracked on the side, you could cut your eye out.
Yeah, that's
because it was that hard plastic.
And it was not only that, but it was also it actually had the hanger molded into the mask where they hang it on the rack.
That's $1 store birthday.
I still got the pictures, man, but I was the Red Ranger. No big deal.
That don't make it cooler.
It's morning time.
Welcome back to episode 8?
9.
And 9.
A fantasy worst save ever. Fantasy friends. Not 8, 9. This is episode 9.
That's what I said. Welcome back to episode 1989. No?
Nope.
P.E. in the house.
2015. Oh, this is actually last episode of the year.
It is. Well, I mean, it's for you. We're not going to be carrying you over next year. Welcome back to episode 9 of Fantasy Friends. Yes, I just said that again because I messed it up the first time. And here's the third time because I don't have to edit. Welcome back to episode 9 of Fantasy Friends.
So not editing any of that.
Yeah. So let's get into it, man. So I saw Star Wars, let me think.
Friday.
It came out. Dude, don't steal my thunder, bro.
No, it's just because you rubbed it in my face. Go ahead, though.
Such a Sith, bro. So me and DaVinci. All right, let me tell you what happened. So
Thursday,
Thursday,
look at this smile. Here we go. There's that energy.
Thursday, DaVinci. If you guys don't know by now, DaVinci is my youngest brother. We're back and forth texting. Hey, you want to go see the Star Wars? I'm like, yep, let's go do it. He's like, all right, here, I'm gonna get the tickets. I was like, bet I'm gonna send you the money through Chase, so you can get the tickets for me and my 11-year-old. Sent him the money. Boom, boom, boom. I was cool. I was real cool until yourself called.
Like yourself as in like Da Vinci, or yourself as in Magellan?
It's like Magellan. Please go ahead, choke on that drink. Why don't you? So I'm chilling. I'm excited. I'm bragging to my coworkers. Hey, I'm going to see Star Wars tomorrow. Woo woo. Going to the IMAX. Woo woo.
Yeah.
And then you called and you did what?
I just was calling to be a friend.
Is that what friends do? Friends.
Dude, I set you up the best way.
You totally just like you tried your best to ruin my Star Wars experience. I didn't. And I woke up that morning with a mindset of no one's ruining Star Wars for me. And you called, you was like, Merc. I said, hey Magellan, how are you? He's like, you do realize that.
Okay, that's totally opposite of when we called.
Magellan, what are you talking about? That movie you're going to see, IMAX only carries 3D. I said, stop lying. No lie. I said, you lying.
Totally opposite. Yeah. I'm more the high-pitched energetic when I call you.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
You were halfway asleep.
Yeah, but no, dude, I had no idea, to cut you off.
Yeah.
I had no idea that we were going to see it in 3D, and Da Vinci didn't tell me. So after I got off the phone with you, after you so know-it-all-ity told me that all the IMAXs are in 3D, I texted him, hey, are these tickets in 3D? Now, behind the scenes, I think you had beat Da Vinci. You had called Da Vinci before I texted him or something. You were trying to do mop-up duty, bro. You're like, oh, I had a call. Who do I call? I got to fix this.
Well, see, I didn't know.
You panicked.
So I didn't know that you didn't like 3D. So when I was calling, you were talking about whatever, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm going to see it in IMAX. I was like, cool, man. And I was like, man, 3D, it would be awesome. I want to see it in 3D. And then you were like, no, it's IMAX. And I'm like, yeah, it's 3D. and then your excitement level went from a 10 to like a 2. And then after that, you're like, man, I'm texting him right now. I'm texting Da Vinci right now. He's like, he's not answering me. Why is he not answering me?
He is not answering, bro. He straight avoided me, bro.
And then after I got off the phone with you, I was like, I'm going to call him up real quick. And then he actually answered. The first thing he said when he answered was, what's up, Chris from Fantasy Friends? But yeah, man. And I was like, hey, man. I was like, I didn't know Merc didn't like 3D. It's like, he's been trying to call you. You avoided his call. He's like, no, man, I've just been working. I was like, heads up for you. You probably don't want to answer him back until tonight. Just sit at the theater, wait for him to come.
Now, here's the thing. So, all right, so it's the next day. It's Friday night. We're trying to get an early movie like 9:30, but we couldn't get one until 11:30. But it worked out great because we were watching the Bulls versus somebody, and the game went to 4 overtimes.
Yeah.
So, like I'm saying, I'm having a great Star Wars night.
Yeah.
Got Bulls basketball, got almost a whole extra half because of the 4 overtimes. The Bulls lost, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I was seeing Star Wars.
Yeah.
So we get to the theater, and I got to say this. I love IMAX. I love the separate line for IMAX. I love the seating in IMAX. It's not a bad seat in IMAX. The sound is amazing.
Yeah.
And even the 3D, sometimes there's 3D in these movies, and it's great. This movie didn't need it.
Yeah.
It just didn't. Like the previews for the that they did in 3D were actually better than the 3D in the movie. In fact, I can't even remember 3D really popping out in the movie for me.
Yeah. And
so it turned out not to really be a big deal. Now, I wouldn't see it again in 3D because I don't know, man. Part of me felt like with the glasses on my face and having to kind of concentrate on something extra, that I wasn't able to pick up all the details in the movies that I wanted.
You're just too old. You're too old for 3D. I get.
Yeah. What were we talking about? I forgot.
Welcome to episode 9.
Where am I? Is it pudding time? I need my pudding.
Has somebody changed this man's diaper?
Thank you. Commercial break so we can clean up this mess. No, but that's how we. That was my movie night. That's where me and DaVinci. I'm sorry, me and DaVinci went to go see it at IMAX. So, and I was excited, man.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the movie. So, how do you want to do? You want to just talk about some of the stuff we liked in the movie first? Do you want me to give you my rating?
Just tell me about when the credits rolled. Okay. Credits rolled. You get past everybody. You get into the car. What's the first thing you guys start talking about?
Okay, so this is after the movie.
Yeah, already watched the movie. Now, what are your thoughts?
Okay. Can I just say that I peed myself a little bit when I read the opening monologue or whatever it is?
Oh, yeah.
Say that. Okay, let's go. All right.
Because then you knew it was real. This was for real.
Yeah, my pants were wet, so I was like, "This is not a dream." All right, so I get in the car and I'm kind of shocked.
Yeah,
I'm shocked at first because there's so much has happened. You're trying to figure out who these characters were, where they're going, what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
it's almost like eating a big meal and trying to digest it really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't, because right away. I went towards, all right, I like this, but I don't like this. And DaVinci went to defending it. Nah, man, I like this. And, this is what I was expecting. I was like, yeah, but wasn't you expecting this? And then this happened? He's like, nah, man, I went into the movie like that. I was like, all right. So I stopped arguing with DaVinci because me and him we never see eye to eye on movies.
Yeah.
Man. So I was more shocked that it really just happened.
Yeah.
The second thing was I was trying to absorb all this new information.
Yeah.
And then, because the movie ended on such a literally a cliffhanger, I didn't get any closure.
Yeah.
All right, and so this is where Star Wars it went from being a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
And then the next day it worked its way up to a 4.
Yeah.
Out of 5
because of the ending.
Because of so many things, bro. That's why I was asking you, where do you want me to start? How did you feel after the end of the movie?
I felt like if they did episodes 4, 5, 6, and they did 7, granted the space in between, and of course the graphics upgrade and all that, I think it fits with everything that brought people to Star Wars. I think it rolled really well with. I mean, if you go back and look at the movies, man, I get it. You want closure in a film, but even when I remember watching the original 3 films from the 70s, episodes 4, 5, and 6, I remember thinking to myself, man. Like, each movie feels like it should have kept going, or I'm missing. That's how I've always felt with Star Wars.
Well, okay, so this is interesting. Let's dig a little deep because A New Hope, which is the original movie, Episode 6, the original movie. If anybody kind of knows the history of Star Wars, at the end they blow the Death Star up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Lucas didn't know he was going to have money to make the next one.
Yeah.
All right, so when Empire starts back, whoa.
Yeah.
Didn't they just blow that planet up?
Yeah.
That Death Star up, but here it is only halfway built, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I say that because in this movie, when they destroy the Star Killer base, there was no closure at that point.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the first movie had closure because the base was destroyed. Woo, the good guys won. And this one, I almost felt like when they went in to destroy the Star Killer base, they were going to lose. In fact, I was rooting for Snook and for Kylo Ren to be so powerful that they would fail. And the other reason I was rooting for that is because, goodness, dude, it felt like I was watching the original New Hope movie.
Okay.
And that was somewhat shocking because it wasn't what I was expecting, but also disappointing a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, and this is where I said the movie went from a 3 the first night to maybe a 4 the next night because I had time to digest everything. So, I didn't know, and DaVinci claims he does know, but I don't believe him. I didn't know going in that this was going to be a soft reboot of a franchise.
Yeah.
I honestly thought the way they sold this to me that this was going to be a continuation of episode,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, after episode 8 or 7 or whatever number we're on.
Yeah.
And that was disappointing.
And see, I saw it as, I think you could just see it. It's kind of like the glass half full, half empty. Because for me, even if you told me, oh, it's a reboot or a soft reboot or whatever, my mindset when I watched the film, I said, okay, well, this happened 30 years after that, and it makes sense. It makes sense of what happened. It makes sense of where everything played place, everybody where they fit in their roles, kind of what happened to Luke, where Han was, where Leia was, and it kind of, it did. I didn't feel like it was a reboot. Granted, it is the first film that Disney's making since they bought, LucasArts or Lucasfilm.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. Let me step in here, and you cut me off. I'm glad you mentioned that because they played it too safe for me.
Yeah.
Now, you remember me and you were going back and forth and actually got a little heated because we were talking about what was going to happen in this movie. You were talking about what you wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I was talking about, I harped on no, Star Wars has a running theme in it. It's a traditional theme. There's no way JJ is going to break away from this theme of father, son, light, dark, or family force. There's no way he's getting away from that. Dude, not only did he not get away from it, he almost went deeper into it, almost too close to it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about the beginning of the movie and how it starts.
Yeah.
So the first person we see on the scene is help me out.
Poe.
Poe.
Yep.
Poe. Poe's a pilot.
Poe's BB-8.
Yeah, Poe and BB-8. Poe's a pilot. They are
sick pilot. Ugh. That
dude. Poe. He doesn't. Did he feel like? All right. What did Poe do? Because I'm now having a little trouble.
So Poe, when it started out, Poe was, he was on Jakku,
right,
to get the missing piece of a map to find Luke.
And why are they looking for Luke?
They're looking because he's gone. He disappeared. He disappeared after, which you don't find out till later, but after Kylo Ren, which was the guy he was training,
the bad guy,
kind of went rogue. And after all that happened, and I don't know if they said in the film or not, I'm not for sure. It's something I probably need to look up, but I don't know if he killed the Jedi or he just, because he went rogue, it kind of, the Jedi that were being trained by Luke kind of just all dispersed. You know what I mean? I don't know what happened, but I know that Luke then, after that major failure he felt, that's whenever he went into hiding or disappeared or whatever happened. Or I'm sure we're going to find out why he actually took off, next film.
Right.
But that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to find Luke. And that's what Poe was there for. He found someone who gave him a piece. They said the New Order were coming in, which are the new bad guys. Or the new group, that's what they call themselves, the New Order. And
or the New Empire, this is the way of looking at it. Yeah.
Exactly. So they were coming in, and then Poe gave that piece of the map to BB-8, and then, Poe was trying to get out, and he didn't get out, he got captured, and then BB-8 took off across the desert.
So let's stop right there. Mm-hmm. Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about this movie paralleling A New Hope.
Yeah.
So you got Princess Leia trying to get the plans for the Death Star. Mm-hmm. She gives the plans to R2-D2 and 3CPO, shoot them off in a capsule. They crash land on a desert planet, right? It's essentially what we see here, only that BB-8 and Poe are already on a desert planet.
Yeah.
Right? Yet still, there was something shoved inside of a robot.
I think it was just like a little Easter egg type thing. I don't think it was I don't see it. Jay put the idea of a soft reboot in your head. For me, going into it, whether I knew or not, I took the film for what it was. Okay, can I believe that episode 6, 30 years later, turned into this? Absolutely. I get it. Being familiar with, okay, a droid is carrying an important document and he's kind of going on this little rogue thing and he's getting saved. And I get the throwback to it. But see, there's people who, just like we talk about, like games wise and movie wise, they want to say, "Oh, I want to stick to tradition," and then when it happens, they're sour about it. And then you have the people that are like, "Well, I want to go way outside the box," and then that happens, and then they're sour about it. Like, you can't please everybody all at once, and I think that's the mindset that you go in. Me, I was like, I'm just gonna sit down. I'm just going to watch the film for what it was. And I took it as, okay, sweet. I could see that. I could see, them trying to find Luke. They have a piece of this map to find Luke. And because of the circumstances, granted, it was a throwback, and you could call it, people technical want to call it a reboot. But for me, I just said, okay, it's got some similarities to it. And
some similarities.
Well, that's for me as just enjoying Star Wars and enjoying the franchise and the movie. I don't look that deep into it, and I think that's more of my kid mentality. I just want to enjoy the film. I don't need to dig deep and ruin it for me or anyone else around me.
I wasn't digging to ruin it, but I do agree with what you're saying. Sometimes you have to enjoy it for what it is on the surface, but Star Wars is something that's very near and dear to me, and it is to a lot of people out there. Probably too close, and probably too near and dear to me. But it struck such a it brought back, I don't know, such memories of the first movie, and that's kind of what I was saying in the beginning about being shocked about some stuff. Yeah. But at the same time, I was like a kid on Christmas because I got some new toys, some new Star Wars toys, some new characters to play with, and that was exciting. Like, it was exciting to to see the new stormtroopers, First Order troopers or whatever they're called. Yeah. It was exciting to see new Jedis come about.
It was exciting to see a stormtrooper take off his helmet.
Dude, it was and that's real. Yeah. That was so real, but at the same time, the good guy, Luke Skywalker, wore a stormtrooper outfit when he went and saved the princess, which is really no different than what Finn kind of did when he went and saved Poe, who eventually led up to him saving Rey, who was the Jedi in this movie.
See, and that's the thing, is you could look at it like that. Me, until you said that, I didn't even care about it, because for me it was okay. The whole thing that I looked at was, there was a guy who was torn from his family, apparently all stormtroopers are at a young age.
And we're talking about Finn now. This is the black guy.
We're talking about Finn. And so he's torn from his family. He's brought up to be a stormtrooper. He knows that he's a stormtrooper. His first major mission as a stormtrooper, he realizes, holy smokes, this is not me. Like, I'm in battle, and this is not me. I'm not this guy. And so he actually then realized, it hits his heart, and he's like, man, I can't do this. I can't execute these people. I can't do this. I'm not built like this.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, that realization, was that the Force awakening in him, or was that just a moral decision for this one guy?
I think it was really a moral decision for this one guy.
I disagree.
I really think so. Like,
I disagree.
I think the Force, as it's defined, it's gonna pull at you if you feel it, right? Yeah. And I want to believe that Finn, and he could, but I want to believe that Finn, did kind of feel the Force and feel this is kind of where it was leading him. And I want to even dig deeper and say maybe Luke had something to do with it on his far off wherever. Right. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I just think that, it's that one guy that didn't go with the flow. And I'm sure when that happened and he was like, I can't do this. I'm not going to shoot these people. I'm not going to do this. And then Kylo Ren, that's the scene where Kylo Ren feels it and he's like, no, something's not right.
Oh, okay. Now you just answered my own question. And that's why I said that I think the Force awakened. Yeah. The Force awakened in him. Yeah. Because here's a guy who, since he can't even remember his parents, so we'll say 2-3 years old, has been educated. Yeah. And then was educated to be a stormtrooper, trained from the beginning, brainwashed. Yeah. To be just that. And when it came time for him to put up or shut up, he couldn't do it. Yeah. Right. which is great. We talked about that, but this is where I think the Force had a part in it because Kylo Ren sensed the Force in him.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were going to say, no, he was just, no, I think Kylo Ren actually sensed the Force in this guy, a faint something enough to make him stop and look.
Yeah.
That was, you know.
And for me, when I watched it, I saw it and I was like, okay, Kylo Ren's dark side, and, you know, he can feel what's going on around him. And whenever he felt anything, like what I could see it from you telling me that. I can see it for that. How I took it in the film was whenever he felt that, the first thing I thought was, okay, all this murdering and all this anger and all this emotion is going on, and then I felt that because of all that bad going on, that Kylo Ren could sense that there was confusion and that there was something else going on with Finn, you know, and whether that's him picking up the Force or what, I didn't think it was that. Seeing your side of it, I absolutely can see that, but I didn't dig deep like that. It was just like, all right, cool. Well, if I'm a bad guy and I got a lot of bad things going around me and this one guy's acting super weird, he catches my eye and then, you know, I just saw it as a leader walked out and he saw something wrong and he's going to investigate it. That's kind of what I felt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, in a normal movie where you didn't have Force powers, I can definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
In this movie, the fact that the bad guy who was using the dark side of the Force could actually tell something was wrong. Didn't see it out of the corner of his eye.
Yeah.
He felt something was wrong. But what he felt, we probably won't ever know until maybe next movie we'll find out. But there is also this hope in me that Finn would be the first or second Black Jedi, right? So I already got a horse in this race. Yeah. I'm a little biased to begin with, right?
Yeah, of course.
But like I said, this is me digesting it after the movie, then digesting it the next day when I had a chance to kind of pick my brain and think about some things, and that's one of the things that hit me, you know. Yeah. So what happens after that?
So what happens after that is BB-8, you know, is off tracking, and then he's, you know, going to get caught by something, which is like you said, you could look at it as a what do you call it, homage or whatever to the film where BB-8's going to get caught, and then Rey finds him and saves him, and you know, Rey essentially says, "Look, I'll help you. I'll get you whatever she says to him," and you know, now she's BB-8's tag teaming with her, and then you know, Finn is. Then the next scene is Finn, or we're kind of jumping, but Finn is up in one of the battleships, and then Phasma, which is the captain, says, "Hey, I need to talk to you," and talks to him or whatnot, which we don't see. But he's kind of knows that they know something's going on, and he makes that choice of kind of what happened on the battlefield to say, you know what, man, I got to get out of here. Like, it's time to go.
And here's what's interesting about that. So Phasma, for you guys who don't know, this is the tall blonde from Game of Thrones. Yeah. She's in the warrior. Oh God, what's her name on that show on Game of Thrones? Gosh, dude, because anyway, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, but she's the silver-looking stormtrooper. Yeah. With kind of like a cape or a shawl over her shoulder. Yeah. And so, what's interesting about that scene though is, even though Phasma knows he didn't do what he was supposed to do, she sends him for re-education. Mm-hmm. She says it. I sent him for re-education, blah, blah, blah. He should be all right.
First offense, no big deal. Right.
And even with the re-education, it didn't take. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that, to me, maybe that was kind of my second clue, like, aha, this guy is, he got the light in him.
I get it, man. You're pulling from him. And that was one of the things that me and Rick were going off of. Because I told Rick that I think the reason why you gave it a 4 out of 5 was because Finn turned out to be not a Luke per se in this movie, but more of a Han Solo in this movie. He was the guy who was helping versus the guy who was taking the lead, you know, as far as the Jedi. And I felt that you would be disappointing knowing that whether it happens later on, great, but in this particular film, that he's not what was portrayed in the trailers, which was being a Jedi.
And I had to deal with that issue of kind of, trailers are meant to be misleading. You don't want to give the movie away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wasn't as disappointed in Finn not being a Jedi in this movie.
Yeah.
As much as I wanted him to be for personal reasons.
Yeah.
I was more disappointed in that the movie ended with him knocked out cold on a slab somewhere.
Yeah.
And that you're telling me that this is it. I got to wait to get the rest of this guy's story. And that was more disappointing. And that's why I was comparing A New Hope to The Force Awakens. And A New Hope, I got my closure.
Yeah.
I know what was going to, I didn't know they were going to do it in the movie, but I knew who Luke was from that point on. I still don't know who Finn is.
Yeah.
And that was a little disappointing.
And I think that's where because we don't know who Rey is. You know what I mean? The only person we really know who is Kylo Ren.
It's Kylo Ren.
Which,
all right, so Finn finishes his re-education. Then he takes off his helmet, and he gets in trouble for taking off his helmet. Phaser kind of chastises him for that. He decides, I can't do this. He goes and he
breaks Poe out.
Breaks Poe out.
Yeah. Takes him to the area.
Right.
Poe being, I thought, a very underrated character, turned amazing in this film.
Right.
He's just he reminds me of like Han Solo because his cockiness. He's like, dude, nah. He's like, I can fly it.
Yeah.
When they jump into the TIE fighter,
Yeah.
And so then they escape, and then they're on a big chase scene and everything, and then they get taken down, and back on Jakku they get taken down because Poe needs to go get BB-8, of course.
Well, they crash land.
Yeah, crash land. Finn wakes up, pulls Poe's jacket out of the TIE fighter. TIE fighter sinks into the soft sand of Jakku, that particular place, and then that's where that kind of scene is, where he is now surviving on Jakku, and then he bumps into Rey. He bumps into where Rey works in this slave encampment or whatever it is.
Right.
And then, actually is going to step up and help her because are they trying to take BB-8 from her? Or are they, I don't remember why the fight breaks out. Oh yeah, they are. They're trying to take BB-8. Because that guy
has the word gone out yet that they're looking for BB-8, right? Yeah, so the word kind of goes out that, hey, this is the droid that the First Order is looking for.
Yeah, because he's got this important whatever. And so then, he's actually, it's funny because he goes and he sees her struggling, and he goes and wants to help her, and then he stops because he realizes that, man, she can handle herself.
Yeah, she don't need any help.
Yeah, you can tell, and at that point, that kind of gave me a sense of, man, she's been here a long time because she can handle herself, Right. And then that's where they kind of all group together. First Order actually gets word of where they're at, and they're coming in, and they start attacking this camp. They were running to this one ship, and the ship gets blown up, and then they go to what she claims is a piece of garbage ship, which turns out into the Millennium Falcon is what they jump into.
Let me ask you now, did the crowd cheer when they showed the Falcon?
Our crowd was actually really good. They cheered just about every time.
Okay.
When Han Solo came out,
bro.
Boom.
Yeah.
Whenever R2-D2, boom.
Yeah.
Whenever Leia, boom. I mean, it was...
Dude, you guys got a good crowd, man. We got a couple of cheers, but when the Falcon came out, when the minute they said, that piece of junk, I was like, the Falcon. Yeah. And the Falcon was like a character, just like a character like Han or Chewie or Luke. It was just another character, bro. And I thought that was pretty awesome. Here's interesting thing, and I know you guys probably get tired of me doing this. Before Finn and Rey go running with BB-8, the two stormtroopers look at them, and then they take off running. That's another scene from A New Hope.
Yeah.
Where the stormtroopers are looking for Obi-Wan or Luke Skywalker and R2-D2 and 3CPO, blah, blah, blah. And they end up, of course, hurrying up to get into the Millennium Falcon. Now, here they are again kind of doing the same thing. Now, at this point, this is cool to me.
Yeah.
There's some cool things happening to me. What's really cool to me is Ray and Finn's friendship or relationship or whatever you want to call it, how easy it took off and how natural it felt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things my friends told me on Facebook before going to see this movie, he saw it before me, he said, man, people that played Finn and Ray, they did an excellent job.
Yeah.
And I could see it. It was almost like these two grew up together. They were really friends.
Yeah.
And it was so natural, man. It made for such great interaction between the two.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, man. They did really well together on screen. It was just like, I mean, I believed it that when that relationship and they kind of realized, and it wasn't a rushed, oh, let's just make them friends so they can start working together.
Right.
It was rushed on the film, on the movie side, but it worked out to where she was like, and then he was kind of like, and then you could kind of tell too he was maybe a little fallen for her because he was trying to be a little impressed, you know, where he lied to her and said, oh yeah, I'm part of the resistance, you know, no big deal. And then he's over there, and this is when they're on the Millennium Falcon where, you know, they're trying to work on it because there's a gas leak or whatever, and then she's working on it, and then he squats down to BB-8, and he's like, "Hey, dude, come on, just help me." It's like
one of the best scenes in the movie, bro.
Yeah, it's
one of the
like,
best scenes in the movie.
BB-8 was like the wingman. He's like, "Yo, come on, man, just tell her where. Come on, hook us up. Tell us where the base is. You know, tell us where
the base is.
And everybody, man, it was so good. Whenever BB-8, whenever he gave him a thumbs up, and then BB-8 flipped his thumbs up, and it was like a little like torch lighter.
He's like, all right, man, I'll play along.
Yeah. So
no, man,
you can see that chemistry with even a droid, you know, to these people, right. And him and the droid almost saying, you know what, dude, I feel like I could trust these people. You know,
I've always liked the way that Lucas made the droids human.
Yeah, he's
always humanized the droids.
Yeah.
Even with their limited motion and facial expressions, he's always done a good job of bringing out the emotion across from the droids. So this was no different. This was actually the best. This was really good. It was also interesting about this scene as we watch Rey as she fixes the Millennium Falcon, is that it's more than secondhand to her. She knows her
She's
stuff.
She's super smart. Like, she is on top, and it made it believable for me once again. Mm-hmm. Because she deals with this type of stuff in a sense on a scrap, because that's what she does. She collects these parts and scraps from the war, from the previous war. That's what they're out there collecting and scavenging for this, you know, slave driver or whatever he is. And, you know, you could just tell that she's just very natural, and that she's been doing this her whole life, where she's in and out of different ships and components, and it was just another thing where you could be a stickler and say, well, she's not that smart. She's never flown this ship. And you could be that guy. But for me, I was like, dude, I get it. I understand how she can fight. I understand how she can do this. Like, it made sense to me, you know?
Yeah, they gave her a lot of credibility for knowing how to fight, for knowing how to fix ships. But what they also did too is they gave more of a nod to the past. And this is where you kind of get confused about who is this girl. Mm-hmm. Because if you watched first three, Hope, Empire, Jedi, and then you watch the Clone War movies, you know throughout those movies that the Skywalkers, they're good at a couple things.
Yes.
They're good at being pilots.
Yep.
They're good at fixing and building stuff.
Yep.
And of course they're good at the Force.
Yes.
You know, she's shown everything but actually, she showed all three because she was flying a Falcon like it was hers.
She did a ridiculous move in the Millennium Falcon,
dude,
where I believe she stopped the Falcon, like kind of almost like shut down everything, because the fin was in the gunner and it locked up. It could still fire, but it couldn't move. So she maneuvered the ship and shut it down in just the exact like projection it needed to it lined up to one of the TIE fighters that they were actually shooting, and then Finn blows it up, and it was just one of those action sequences that was like, dude, that was awesome.
So now let me jump in again here. Was she using the Force?
She could have been, man. I mean, you really the only time,
or she's just a good pilot.
Well, that's the thing. You don't. because there's a clear evidence of when she first, in a sense, where it's obvious she's using the Force.
Right.
There's that one scene. For this, it could be. I mean, this is one of those things that you might not ever find out, and it's going to be talked about for 20 years down the road of, did she use the Force in that move? You know, did Greedo shoot first? Evidence. It's going to be one of those questions.
It is, but when you look at the evidence, here you have this girl piloting a ship that she's never flown before. At least that's what we assume.
Yeah.
She's never flown it before, and then she pulls off not just the one maneuver you're talking about, but she was flying in and out of.
She was doing really well for that ship.
Yeah, you know.
Because it's not, I mean.
Because the only other people who've driven this ship was Lando, and it used to be his.
Yeah.
And then Han Solo, of course. And of course, Chewbacca, he doesn't count, but because he's always flying it.
Yeah.
But as far as people we've seen fly this ship and do well in it.
Yeah.
She's the only third person. She's the third person I've ever seen do some of the things she's done.
There's only, and I know where you're getting at. There's two things. This is I thought that there's two people it could possibly be. And if it is different, cool, man. I'm down for it too. Whatever
all right,
the story.
Let's hear it then. How are we getting good here? I think I know where you're going on
I
this one.
thought from the start, my first thing was, okay, this is Luke's daughter, the cousin of Kylo Ren. That's how I saw it. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, I was like, dude, she's badass.
Right.
And I was thinking to myself, man, you know, could this be, in a sense, could this be Kylo Ren's twin? Could this be a sister of his?
Right.
And she was dropped on Jakku, throwback, because, you know, they needed to keep her safe. They wanted to keep her away from people searching for her, knowing who she was. Because, you know, the whole thing is you want to eliminate the Jedis and stop.
Yes.
Stop. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of light versus dark. The Sith want no Jedis.
Well, that's the whole point of trying to find Luke, because he's the last one.
Exactly. And
at least they believe he's the last one. We stop him, there's nobody to get in our way now.
Yeah.
So the whole galaxy is looking for Luke. The rebels need Luke because they're getting their butt kicked by the First Order. The First Order want Luke because he's the only thing standing in our way.
And he's the only one giving hope to the rebellion, you know, the resistance.
Right.
So then you're in the ship, the scene happens.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get rid of the notion that Kylo Ren and Rey are twins, because they're not. He is about 10 or 15 years older than her.
Mm-hmm. And they said this in the film?
They said this in talking about the story. So he has about a 10-year, JJ. There is a 10-year difference between the two.
Okay.
He's the older one.
Okay.
So they're not twins.
So they're cousins.
The only option is,
So they're cousins.
they could be cousins, or she could be a little sister.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. But well, let's stick on Rey and let's talk about that for a minute. I know we're already over an hour, so let's talk about Rey and who she is, because this is one of the big problems. I won't call her a problem. It's one of the areas of closure that I didn't get.
Yeah.
Who is this chick?
And I don't think, and that's another thing for me that I realized when they said, hey, listen, cool, episode 7's coming out. It's going to be amazing. You know, we're getting it going. We're doing what we got to do and pushing the story forward. For me, there didn't have to be closure, because I know, and this is how I felt when I watched the first films. I always felt that they closed the movie, but it wasn't, I needed to find out more from a lot of things. I wanted to find out why, that's it? Han Solo and Carbonite? What am I going to figure out?
Yeah, but that's Empire, and that's meant to be a sequel.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, is that they already told everybody, hey, listen, we're going to make this many more movies, so hang in there. We can't make an 8-hour movie. We're going to chop it up, and we're going to do that. And for me, after the Star Killer base is destroyed. They have a celebration, but at the same time, there's still a mission, which is, hey, we need to go find Luke. And then Luke is found. And then that was, for me, I didn't even say, oh man, I didn't get to find this, and that, because I was told up front that these films are going to be made. They're going to tell a whole drawn out story. So for me, I saw it as a weekly episode. I saw it as I'm watching Lost. I'm figuring out this, and that. I'm amazed, but I still want to know more. I want something to pull me in. And that's just me being a very open-minded individual. I don't need to dig in. I will take everything for what it is. I don't need to chop down and calculate all these things. I see
okay,
a film.
But let's be honest. Let's be honest.
I am being honest.
Part of the lure of this movie was talking about and trying to figure out. A big part of it was playing detective. Who's what's happening, what's going on, and then there's this huge buildup, and then when you get to the movie, and you're looking for resolutions or answers for the kind of the things you've been discussing with your friends, and you don't get it, you got to be let down a little.
I was not let down at all in the movie.
Oh God, you're just a blind.
No, it's just I'm taking a movie for what it is.
Newbie fan. You should go see Star Trek instead. How about that?
I'm sorry, man. I'm a kid at heart. I don't need to jump into this and ruin a movie. I don't need to give it a 4 out of 5. It's a 5 out of 5.
I got an opinion that matters. All right. One more thing on Ray, and then we can take a break and move on. All right. Ray, to me, and this is the topic. Everybody who if you've seen Star Wars: The Force Awakens, everybody's kind of talking about this. Is she Luke's daughter? Is she not? I don't think she's Luke's daughter at all. When you look at the history of the Jedi, especially Luke's family in particular, you have to look at the past. If we're going to really just keep this continuing theme going on, we know Anakin snuck off and married Padme, had the kids, Luke and Leia, and we know what that led to. So there's no way in heck that Luke Skywalker is going to allow that to happen to himself. 2, and this is where I need the audience to correct me. I've never, ever, in my 40 years on this planet, heard of Luke Skywalker having a love interest. And this may be because I didn't go too deep into some of the comics and books after Empire. After Jedi, but I've never seen that. 3, there's another avenue here. And that's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was marooned on a desert island, on a desert planet, watching over Luke for X amount of years, right?
Yeah.
He was Luke was 18 by the time he left and joined the rebellion.
Yeah.
I think it's Obi-Wan's granddaughter. And the reason I think it is because Obi-Wan did have a relationship with the Duchess. And it was a romantic relationship. And there's some things that happened in this movie during her flashback, with her connection with the lightsaber. Nobody's had this lightsaber longer than Obi-Wan. Remember, he had it for 18 plus years in his possession. When it calls to her, it's not Luke that's calling to her. It's not Anakin that's calling to her. It's Obi-Wan who tells her, Rey, you're ready to take the next steps. And to me, if you already have a Skywalker as your enemy, Kylo Ren, right? The only other person to ever beat a Skywalker has always been a Kenobi.
Yeah.
And to me, that's kind of where I think they're going with Rey's character. I think she's going to turn out to be a Kenobi that is trained by Luke Skywalker to take down. And that's just my opinion. And when you look at some of the history of Star Wars, I think that fits a little bit better than, okay, now we got to find somebody for Luke to sleep with, and now she's just kind of random.
Yeah.
But I don't think you have that problem with Obi-Wan Kenobi. So
yeah. Oh, and I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, it depends how far you want to get off track. There's so many options you could go with. There really are. Rey could be a completely different family.
Or she could just be random, which is crazy, right? That's
and then you're thinking, well, what happened to this? And that could be kind of a move on from, hey, it's got to be stuck with this why is it always these people in this part of the galaxy right here? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I could see that too, and this person just being amazing, you know, and using the Force and not realizing it comes so natural that, you know, you could see her doing these ridiculous things and knowing things that other people can't, you know, don't see or don't comprehend right away. And I mean, for me, I just want to see the next film. I could you could talk on who's this and who could marry this and who Rey is, and for me, I don't care who she is. I just want to see the next film so I can find out who she is, and then once again get a closure on that film, and then move on to the next one. that's what
I think that's a great way of that's a great way to view these movies. Especially, I'm a little bit more hardcore.
Yeah.
When it comes to my Star Wars, of course, like I said before, when we talked about Star Wars in the earlier episodes on Fantasy Friends, I kind of share my emotional connection to it and what it means to me. So, but no, that's a great way to watch it. Just be a fan. I think my wife was, you know, I was going to take her to see it. I think she's just going to be a fan of it, and then she finds out when she finds out, kind of like what you're saying.
Yeah.
For me, it goes a little deeper, and that's part of the joy for me. Is figuring out who's who, what's what. So let's take a quick break. Let's come back and talk a little bit about Kylo Ren, the new bad guy.
Yeah, real bad.
And then wrap up the show a little bit.
Yeah, real bad. Yeah, I'm all into it, man. I got my Boba Fett cup and all my action figures, my Kylo Ren lightsaber. I'm going all in, man. I'm all in. I got my Chewie slippers. Got my Star Wars hoodies and shirts. They're making a lot of money.
Yeah, off of you.
Yeah, off of me.
Yeah. We've made $500 million, but waiting for the numbers from North Carolina to come in. There's a kid down there. He spent about another $100 million on us.
All right, welcome back to episode 9 of Fantasy Friends. Today we're talking.
Sorry, I haven't said it in a long time.
Sorry, I was supposed to pause for that. We're talking about Star Wars: The Force Awakens spoilers.
Force Awakens spoilers.
I'm your hardcore fan of Kimball Merck, and this is my softcore fan.
I like to say kid at heart and open-minded fan, Magellan.
He's very hardcore. Yeah, you know what, dude? When the Power Rangers come out, I'm going to destroy that movie. All right, so let's talk about the bad guy. The main bad guy in this movie, Kylo Ren.
Yeah. And
how he takes that huge step to solidifying himself as the bad guy.
To break tradition.
To break tradition. All right. Go ahead, man. I want you to talk about Kylo Ren because I think you're a big Han Solo fan, probably more than I am.
I'm a huge Han Solo fan.
Yeah.
And I'm a dark side fan. I really am.
Well, you are. Yeah.
I do. I like the dark side. I get it. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I'm in the movies, I'm not. I want to pull for the dark side, but then just with Star Wars fans and base, you know, it's not ever going to end with the dark side winning. It's just not.
Never. Sorry.
So.
All right, I digress.
But no, man, Kylo Ren, you first see him in the movie, and you know he comes out and he comes off of a ship, a transporter ship that mimics Vader's in a sense. It's black, and but it still has the wings that stick up, you know, whenever it comes up. And he comes out, you know, and he's just basically he's kind of exactly like Vader, where he's not really in charge per se of like the main force, as he's kind of just giving orders and no one's really going to get in his way. So one thing I noticed with Kylo Ren out of the gate is that he was very Anakin-y out of the gate. He was very out of the gate. He was, you look at him, you're like, oh dude, this guy's bad. Look at him. He's strutting his stuff. He's going out there. He's doing his thing. He's using the Force and stuff. And then, you know what, when he's when he's not on the battlefield, you see him struggling, and you see him struggling where he's saying, man, I gotta fight the light. I feel it. I gotta fight it. It's coming in and I'm struggling. And he even goes up to Snook, which is kind of the guy who's been training him, which I would assume is his master.
Right.
And he tells him, he's like, look, and this is where I thought it was awesome. He's like, look, he's like, I feel the light and I'm confused. I need your help. He's like, I need you to help me. You know, I need to go basically full on dark. I don't want to do this. And
turn off the light.
And so you see that, you know, and he's struggling and everything. And then, you know, there's later, you know, Rey's captured, and then Rey's captured, and then, you know, she's on the ship, and that's where you kind of see the Force, where she actually starts realizing, hey, I can feel this. I'm going to start doing these things. I'm going to start making people do things and kind of control them. And she starts seeing that. And then, you know, Kylo Ren, that's where he kind of comes in, and dude, he's kind of he's struggling so much inside, he flies off the handle. I don't know how much damage he's done in parts of the ships, and because dude, he's taken his lightsaber to many of electronics and consoles and ripped open doors out of pure just being angry that things aren't going his way. And so for me, I was like, okay, I kind of get it, but I don't like that side of it. I don't like where he can't. I want someone more composed. You know what I mean? Ooh. So then Kylo Ren, you know, fast forward, and Kylo Ren is actually where they're starting to the rebellion is, or the resistance. I keep saying rebellion. The resistance is actually, you know, trying to fight and get this base destroyed. Right. And so he walks out there. Sure enough, Han Solo's there. And Han Solo sees him and walks down, you know, where he's at. He sees him way down there, and he decides, hey, I'm going to mosey on down there, have a little chat with him.
But that's my son.
Because he's my son. And before, something we haven't brought up is that Leia was very adamant about when her and Han met up in the movie, which you could tell it's been a while. They've been apart a while. When they met back up, the first thing he says is, he talks, and then he says, I saw our son. He's like, I saw him where we were. And Leia's playing a mom. She's playing a very mom role where she's like, bring him home. Like, bring my boy home. Save him. You know, we understand who he is and what he's done. But if there's one thing, because Han says, well, if Luke can't do it, how can I? Because you're his father. Right. So you're going to have to go bring him home. And I think Han Solo, this is what hit me. I love Han Solo, man. And I love him because he wasn't the hero, but without him, who knows where Star Wars would have turned. He's just one of those guys to me, where he was very a part of that movie, where if he wasn't there, would Luke be alive? You know, would these things... Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? And whenever I saw his face, and he was walking down there, and he walked up to him, and he called him, I think he said Ren. I think he...
Called him Ben.
Yeah. Was it Ben or Ren?
It's Ben, because he's named after Ben Kenobi.
Yeah. So he turns around. He already knows he's there. He's already known. He's just playing it out for the scene. Right. He's felt Han Solo there.
Of course.
So they're on this. So they're in the middle here in this large catwalk where if someone were to happen to die, they would fall off and disappear.
Forever.
So they're there, and this is what I thought was a very bittersweet scene for me, because Han is telling him, you're being lied to by Snook. He's telling you all the things he wants to do. He wants to use your powers because his powers aren't as good as yours are. He's using you. So, hey, man, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go at this point?
Right.
So, this is where, like I said, bittersweet. Kylo Ren comes up to him, and I believe, Han Solo asks him to take off the mask. He says, I want to talk to my son. I don't want to talk, to who you are. Right. Kylo Ren removes the mask, and he has it in his hand, and then he starts breaking down almost. And he's like, I'm struggling. I hate it. I hate feeling this way. I'm torn inside. I'm tired of it. And Han Solo, he knew what was going to happen. I know he knew what was going to happen.
Of course.
Because Kylo Ren dropped the helmet, and I'm sure a lot of people are like, man, like this is going to go two ways. We're going to get to see someone kind of like a Darth Vader where he was dark, but now he kind of sees his ways, or you're going to see him go full on, dark side. And the way he acted and portrayed it, it was good. It made it seem like Han Solo, heart to heart, he's coming home. And so Kylo Ren, I remember he asked Han Solo, can you help me? Can you do what needs to be done to help me? And Han Solo knew, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And so sure enough, lightsaber cuts on, goes straight through Han Solo, kills his dad. And it was such a bittersweet, emotional, because you see Han Solo almost like he was like relieved, and he knew that it was coming. I mean, even by that hand gesture on Kylo Ren's face, where he touched his face and looked at him and went over. For me, when that scene happened, I thought it was awesome. It sucked because Han Solo died, but I thought it was awesome because now you have a character that's pure dark. Like I don't think he's ever going to come back. I think that was if I could do this is the one thing that I've maybe, as a human, this is the one thing that I've been emotionally tied to. I know what my father is. I know who my mother is. I know what they've done or what they represent. If I can destroy this, then I can move on, and I won't have to struggle. And whether he struggles or not in the future, who knows? But I thought that was a very iconic, I'm not going to chop off, I'm not going to chop off his hand. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill my dad.
It always goes back to the father replacing the son, right? Isn't that what the original Emperor was trying to get Luke Skywalker to do?
Yeah.
He knew that Luke was more powerful than Vader.
Yeah.
And they kind of did some foreshadowing with that, because we know Anakin loses his hand, and then Luke comes behind his father. It's actually his father who takes his hand.
Yeah.
Right? But let's talk about Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, the best villain, let me start by saying the best villain I've ever seen in Star Wars movies, all 7 of them, will always be the Emperor from the Clone War. The Clone Wars. I think the way that character was portrayed and was acted out was excellent.
Yeah.
He was just, he was such a nasty, villain. It was such a complicated character. Then there's Kylo Ren, I think is 1 and 1A. Kylo Ren is 1A to me. And you mentioned in the beginning how he would have these tantrums with his lightsaber, right?
Yeah.
Or his force powers, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of that touched up a little bit on Anakin, because Anakin had those same struggles, but Anakin didn't quite have the outburst that Kylo Ren had. God, there's just so much meat on this. So let me eat this piece by piece.
Yeah.
I saw Anakin in him because Anakin struggled with maintaining the light, as opposed to Kylo Ren struggled with maintaining the dark.
Yeah, he wants dark.
But the light was trying to push, take over.
Yeah.
Okay. That's their comparison. I'm going to bounce around here for a second. When Leia sends Han Solo and says, go get our son, that reminded me of when Padme was dying and she told Obi-Wan Kenobi, there's still some good in him.
Yeah.
Know it.
Yeah.
I know it. I'm like, man, you know, a mother knows their child, right?
Yeah.
Mother knows their child. And so, you know, Obi-Wan being like a father to Padme and Anakin, here you have Han Solo kind of playing that role again.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I'll do it. So then that was that comparison. But let me get back to Kylo Ren and why I love this guy so much. From the very beginning, he was complicated.
Mm-hmm. Very.
You know, and I love that. I love that he actually threw tantrums when Anakin didn't, because it showed how immature he was.
Yeah.
It's almost like you gave a loaded gun to a 10-year-old.
Yeah. And
you know, he might, you might be able to point and shoot it, but he's not going to be responsible with it.
And that's what I like, not to cut you off, but that's why I like Kylo Ren right now, because we are seeing, I thought Anakin was he never threw tantrums, but he was very whiny and undecisive. With Kylo Ren, when things aren't going his way, like you said, it's like a loaded gun. He will get out of his way. I mean, there was even times where, you know, people would walk up on him and they're kind of like...
Dude, that was so funny when the two stormtroopers walk up and they see him just thrashing.
Yeah.
And they turn around.
And I like that because he's... it's so different because he's immature, but at the same time, he's very decisive. He knows what he wants, and he's not going to whine about it. He's just going to... He's going to kind of explode and know... Like, he knows what he wants, and when he doesn't get it, get out of his way. You know what I mean? And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And that's what I like you were saying with the characters, because he's already complicated. He's very mature, and what I've seen from kind of the start to the finish is I've seen steps of that kind of maturity in a sense of him, kind of his character developing. He's very complicated, but he's on a path, and we know where his path is going as of right now.
And see, I think part of the immaturity is the path he's chosen to take. This obsession with being like Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where is that kind of coming from? Wanting to finish what Vader started. Why is there this obsession here? Is it because their father wasn't around?
Yeah.
You know, was it because Plagueis was manipulating him? I like that about him as well. That this almost felt like, I don't know if I told you or told somebody else, this felt like a young adult movie, a YA novel, and how the characters reacted, how Finn acted, how Rey acted.
Yeah.
But Kylo Ren, you never really see a villain lose his cool like that.
Yeah.
To that extent. And we saw it twice in this movie, and that to me I enjoyed. He felt real. The struggle of the light and the dark in him, it felt real. I could connect with him.
Yeah.
As opposed to Vader. Vader was cool because Vader had the cool outfit on. This is before we knew how he became Vader.
Yeah.
He was cool because of his outfit, because of his power, because of his red lightsaber, right?
Yeah, you're like, dude, you're going to talk smack to me and force choke.
And force choke. Right. Kylo Ren was cool because I could relate to him on an emotional level.
Yeah. He was.
And so,
I mean, his character was, like I said, you just kind of felt that he was really, you could see the struggle and you could see him where he was, and then he killed Han. He killed Solo. And then you could kind of tell, okay, cool. I know what's happening now. I did what in my mind, and I think, like I said, I don't know if he's going to struggle with it down the road or not, but as of right now, I sense a sense of calmness after that happened. He was kind of like, it's done. I did it. You know what I mean? And then that's wherever he goes after Rey, or actually, was it Finn? Who'd he go after first? Or he going after both of them?
Chewbacca shoots him.
Yeah.
Chewie shoots him, and they escape into the forest.
Yeah.
And so that's Kylo Ren, man. He's such an interesting character. And I cannot wait to see his growth. This movie felt like a YA movie. The characters were young. And I guess the original Star Wars could have been a YA movie too, because they were young in there, but this one felt more like in line with the Hunger Games and Divergent or something like that.
And I think you got to do that because you got to think, how long are these? I mean, they're starting to film it's right now December 2015. They're starting filming next month for the second movie, and so you got to think, we won't get to see that for another 2 years. So you got to pump out. What do they say? 4? They got 4 coming up.
I don't know. I know they were doing one every year. And Da Vinci was telling me they've already shot some of the scenes with Luke on that island with Ray. And
I'm sure they did.
Luke might croak at any minute. Let's get this movie.
Yeah, dude, I love Mark Hamill, man. When I saw him, I love Mark Hamill.
So let's talk about Mark Hamill. Let's talk about Luke Skywalker and why this has to do with why I kind of gave it a 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he has all of 30 seconds of screen time?
Yeah.
You want to talk about being disappointed, man.
Yeah.
This is my hero. This is my Ace Bucco. This is my boy.
Yeah.
We go way back to Tatooine. You know what I'm saying? So it was actually kind of interesting, but at the same time a little disappointing, man.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly thought, so this is where I thought the movie was going to go. When they went to destroy the Starkiller base, which to me was a negative because it happened in all of a minute. I think in one scene they came up with a plan, ran to their ships, and destroyed the Starkiller base. It felt like all within 5 minutes, and I was kind of like, all right, we've done this already twice.
Yeah. This is number 3. And dude, I was in the theater and like
you had to be thinking that.
Whenever I was in the theater and they called it it wasn't a thermal exhaust port. They called it the thermal whatever.
Yeah.
And I was the only one in the theater that I just unfortunately I feel bad for the people around me, but I did a very sarcastic outburst laugh. I was like,
bro.
I was like, please tell me this is gonna be covered and defended this time. And it was.
Dude, it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
No.
When they did the comparison, when they showed the Death Star,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, "Here's the Starkiller base,"
Mm-hmm.
and Han Solo was like, "We can blow it up, right?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, come on."
For me, like you said, it was. I don't see it, and you could pitch me, and everything you say or anybody could make sense and say, "Dude, this is a reboot, and we're moving forward with this." For me, I still think it's just you gotta have an exhaust thermal port for that kind of weapon. This time, though, I like it because you had to have a ground crew involved. You had to have a lot of things. We're not talking about we're not talking about we're talking about on the actual weapon, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
But you had to not just drop the shields, you had to actually drop shields, you had to get in there, and then you had to find a way to blow it out from the inside to open it up. And then dude, I want to talk about Poe, man. Poe is awesome.
Dude, when he came back and led that squad, oh my gosh.
That scene where they're at the watering hole place, where you see whenever Rey first sees the lightsaber, the bar where they were, kind of Temple. I guess the throwback to the cantina.
Yeah, so the cantina bar, right?
So, dude, when he comes in, and then for me, I didn't think it was dead, but for me, for him to just pop out, it was like, oh, sweet. So he's alive
because he was dead. You do realize that, right? So some of you guys don't know, Poe actually dies in the opening sequence, and he was done in the movie. But Isaac, what's that guy's name? I can't think of the actor name. Isaac something.
Yeah.
Wanted to be in the movie a little bit longer, and JJ actually found a way to bring him back. So that's why Poe just kind of pops out of nowhere.
I love it.
They don't show him getting off the planet. They don't show any of that.
I don't care.
They just show him popping out of nowhere is because originally he died in the movie and they decided to bring him back. I'm cool with that.
That was spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler. It didn't really ruin the movie. But I'll give you some other tidbits about this movie too. You said the temple that they went to where Rey finds the lightsaber, it looks like the cantina, is because that temple was originally drawn to be the original cantina.
Yeah.
And it got tossed aside. So they went back and looked at some of the original artwork.
Yeah.
And included it into this movie. The artwork that did make it into Star Wars A New Hope, a lot of it made it into this movie.
Yeah.
And that's why you got the feel that you had.
Yeah.
Even in some of the designs of the characters as well, which was really cool, man. Gosh, we're running super long, probably because we're excited about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The rest of the movie you guys got to go see for yourself because there's a lot more that takes place.
Yeah.
Han
Solo comes back as a zombie.
Oh, there's a zombie scene.
What's his name? C-3PO comes back with a red arm.
Oh, the red arm. The karate arm.
The action karate arm.
But so pick one thing out of this movie, and I'll do the same, that just really kind of caught your eye that you really liked. And one thing you didn't like. We'll both do that, and we'll wrap it up.
Man. For me, like I said, this is like a kid. This is like you watching the original when you were a kid, for me.
Yeah.
It really is.
Right.
And one of the most emotional scenes for me was the Han Solo. Is very bittersweet. Han Solo, getting killed by Kylo Ren, because it kind of iced on the cake to say, hey, I felt that Han Solo knew he was going to die, and he knew the only way Leia and the Resistance would continue after Kylo Ren and say, give up on him completely by trying to save him, as if he killed his own father. And I think that did that. Plus, it solidified that this guy is, for me, all dark, 100% dark side at this point. He pulled the trigger. But honestly, man, I would say one of my most favorite scenes, and it wasn't a on him type scene. It was Poe at that temple, and because he comes out of there, and this Han Solo and Chewie are getting about to get arrested by these guys. They're all surrounded, and Poe comes out with this squadron. And dude, this one scene, you're not really even focused on him, but you see his X-Wing, and this thing comes out and takes out like 2 or 3 TIE fighters, no big deal.
Yes.
Comes down, aims at the stormtroopers around Han and Chewie, and snipes them with his guns. Flips back up, takes up like 2 or 3 other TIE fighter, and you can see this guy. If it was done any other way, it would have been a cornball, cheesy 80s. Never it possibly could have happened. Impossible, no way. But the way the scene was shot and everything, I just sat back. I was like, dude, this guy is bad. Like, he is amazing. And that was one of my favorite scenes is seeing Poe come in and just do ridiculous things with that. And then, of course, he's the one who ultimately goes in and destroys the Star Killer base too.
Right.
So that was mine. Disappointing wise, man. Disappointing wise,
if you're not disappointed, you're not.
I'm not.
There's nothing that disappoints you, brother. Go for it, man.
There's nothing very there's not. I mean, not seeing Lando come back maybe was disappointing.
No, you're reaching now. But he retired in Cloud City with some little Cloud City babies.
But no, man, I wasn't. I really wasn't. I wasn't disappointed at all. I was a kid in the candy store with all my Darth Vader gear on. I was stoked, man.
All right, so I'll go next.
Boo.
The most exciting.
Exciting first. Yeah.
Are you gonna put me before I start? Let me start at least. Most exciting scene. Good movie. What had me? I don't know. I'm still in shock. In shock. All right, I'll say this. I enjoyed the entire movie. I'm gonna tell you what I enjoyed about this movie, and I think, and this is where I just gave JJ another half point, so it's a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Is the comedy in the movie?
Yes.
Comedy in the movie. You didn't need a silly Jar Jar.
Yep.
You did need silly slapstick antics to be funny. The funny in this movie was, I don't know, what do you call that? Straight man funny? What do you call the type of funny we see? It was really good though. It wasn't.
Dude, it wasn't. One thing I told people, and
it wasn't Jar Jar.
I stick by is it was a very unforced. Like the comedy that was in there was like when you're having a normal conversation and you pop a joke. Like it was very natural comedy in there.
Right. Yeah. And I love that. The natural comedy is probably the best way to put it. Like, especially we talked about Kylo Ren's throwing this tantrum, dude, and he's tearing this command center apart with his lightsaber. And two stormtroopers walk up and they stop and they hear it. And they kind of look at each other and they're like, kind of back off slowly and turn around and go the other way. Yeah. I thought that was funny. The scene, like you mentioned, with BB-8 and Finn, they had a great chemistry. So one of the big positives of this movie is that the comedy, it felt natural. The acting was great. Mm-hmm. The comedy was great. My biggest disappointment in this movie would have to be how...
Boo! Don't even let talk. That's episode 9 of Fantasy Friends. Where can they find us?
How quickly they destroyed the Starkiller base. Yeah. They can find us on Facebook, Fantasy Friends Podcast. They can also find us on Twitter, the Fan Fry Pod, or Fantasy Friends at twitter.com. We also have an email address, fantasyfriendspodcast@gmail.com. 3 ways to get in contact with us.
So how long did you want that scene to last? It would lasted a good, 20 minutes.
Not as much as I wanted it to last, as much as I wanted them to fail.
Yeah.
Because this was the 3rd time. You're going to tell me nobody in the First Order thought about covering that thermal exhaust?
They covered it. It was covered that time. If it wasn't for Han and Chewie setting off all the bombs, they wouldn't have been able to do it.
Nobody else said, hey, if we're going to build a giant planet that destroys other planets, maybe we ought to think about doing some things different.
I like the weakness, though. Don't you like the weakness?
Can we make it square? No, I don't like the weakness. It's been done twice.
It took where else a weapon that crazy needs a thermal exhaust port? It's science.
That crazy shouldn't be able to be destroyed by 10 X-Wing fighters and a couple of dudes and a Wookiee. But that's what kind of got me.
It was the best X-Wing pilot.
Oh my Lord, Jesus!
There's nobody who could have squeezed in there like Poe did.
Skywalker could have.
No. See, Skywalker. See, here's the thing. Luke isn't as good as a pilot as people think. It's because he's cheating. He's using the Force. Poe is all skills. Poe's like, I don't need the Force, bro. I'm just gonna go in there and handle my business, and I'm gonna feel bad for Finn, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give him my jacket because I feel bad for him.
Nah, dude, keep it. Look
keep
good
it,
on
dude.
you. You're dead, Poe. You're supposed to be dead.
No,
I shouldn't even be talking about this jacket.
Yes, amazing. And I need to get that, man. I need to get that Poe. Mad respect. Probably one of my favorite characters. God, Kylo Ren, dude. He's so bad.
Poe Force sensitive? With the flying that he did in the X-Wing, is that just being a good pilot like Rey? Or is he Force sensitive and not know it?
He could be, because he pulls some maneuvers that are crazy, dude. He's pinpoint. Yeah. Oh, it's so crazy. But anyways, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
All right, so let's talk about this final scene. So the Starkiller base is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
We see Rey return back to the Rebel base, and she hugs General Leia.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, what are you thinking when you see this? Are you thinking, man, that's her daughter? That was a long hug for 2 strangers.
Yeah, the first thing because of course Leia felt Han when he died. She knew it already.
Right.
So whenever he came back, the first thing I thought was whenever he came back and hugged Leia, I was thinking this is really live what was in my mind when the hug was going on. I was thinking, how are you going to tell her that she's got to kill her brother? That's the first thing that popped in my mind. And I know that's like just jumping on the who's who and who's what.
Yeah.
I could just kind of see Solo dying because it had to be done, and he had to show Leia that Kylo Ren can't be saved. And then how are you going to...
I just stop you there? I didn't think about that. You blew my mind with that.
That's what I thought. I thought, dude, he knew he was going down there, and he didn't know what to expect. Han knew there was going to be a 50-50 shot. So he was either
Right.
going to do it or he wasn't. There's no.
But the fact that he would do it to show Leia that there's no saving our son.
That's what I thought.
That never crossed my mind. And when you said that earlier, I was like, wow, that's a great thought.
Because whenever, and it was going through my mind even more whenever he said, would you help me, or would you do anything for me, or whatever? And Han was like, yeah. And I felt like Han knew it was coming. Like I knew it was coming.
Right.
But that's what I thought. I was like, how is Leia gonna, like that, when that hug happened, that's the first thing that popped in. How am I gonna tell this girl she's got to kill her brother? Let's not tell her. Let's not mix emotions here.
Yeah, and let's not mix emotions. Well, that's the other reason I don't think that Rey is Luke's daughter, because Han Solo didn't say anything about it, and you'd think he would if he knew. And then Leia didn't say anything about it, and you think she would be like, "Oh, that's my niece," or "Oh, this is my daughter."
Yeah,
that to me is why I don't think that she's Luke's daughter or Leia's daughter. There was just some communication missing, like, oh, my whole long lost daughter. But the flip side of that could be, because in the trailer they make it seem like Luke is talking to Rey directly.
Mm-hmm.
The flip side could be Leia doesn't know, or Leia's not telling Rey, just like Luke chose not to tell Leia, because if you know now, you're under a threat.
Yeah, and how sweet would it be? Because the whole thing is finding Luke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, at the end of the movie, she hugs, and then her and Chewie get in the Millennium Falcon, and then they fly and go find Luke. And then she gets off, and she finds Luke, on that island, the Temple Island, or the temple that he was supposed to go to.
The Jedi Temple, right?
How sweet would it be if the Force Awakening is Luke using this Jedi Temple in some sort of form to awaken the Force in these
throughout
people.
the galaxy?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Like the one quote unquote Last Jedi is awakening the Force in these people. And I just think now that I'm talking about this, I could see.
Oh, bro, hold on a minute. What if that's what he went there to do?
That's what I'm thinking. Because now that I'm saying it, we don't know how this temple works. We know how the Force works, and maybe this temple is that one, almost like a megaphone.
Yeah,
like where it's like, okay, I get this one last shot to make it all work, and I could see him like maneuvering this little itty bitty Force in, like you said, Finn, in flying Rey, in even pushing Han Solo to knowing that he's gonna go die, to like all these things that were happening. I could see that now, just saying it to you. I could see him awakening the Force. Luke, Mark Hamill, you're so bad.
Dude, if he's somehow magnifying the Force so that it awakens in Force-sensitive people throughout the galaxy, if that's what he learned when he went to the Jedi Temple, because you figure, all right, I tried to do it the traditional way, and Kylo Ren came in here like he was Anakin, and and killed all these Padawans.
Yeah.
Maybe Luke decides that, all right, I need to do something different because, sorry about that. I need to do something different, and this was it.
Yeah. Dude, it could be. We won't know until...
Dude, I didn't think about that, dude. You got me excited, bro.
We won't know until what? 2000 and...
Next year. 17.
What's that?
Rogue One comes out next year, and then after that...
They're going to do one a year. They're going to push that.
They're going to do one a year, bro. Like I said, they're already filming scenes, for the next movie. So
I guess I got to get my Kylo Ren stuff ready.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting?
Yeah.
There are like a ton of characters that they got to start introducing to us.
Dude, we got to learn about Phasma.
Yeah. She was the Boba Fett of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of eye candy almost.
We got to learn about... well, this is just me being a little bit more with the action figures. There's some action figures that you saw very, like in the Force Vision, I guess is what they're calling it. You saw like General, what's his name that was there? Oh, or his name was Constable something, and he was the guy that looked like he had the rice Chinese hat on.
See, dude, I don't know why I didn't. Man, so many people picked up on things in the Vision that I just missed.
Oh,
they said that you could see Vader and Obi-Wan fighting in the back, or Vader and Luke or somebody fighting in the back.
You could also, I believe, I saw her fighting Kylo Ren.
Oh, wow.
In that Vision.
Wow.
And so you're thinking, oh man, is this, well, the Force is the Force, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm excited, man. I'm excited about the next one.
Look, man, let's wrap this up. We're almost at 2 hours, I think. Let's wrap this up. I think we haven't, you know, guys, we've talked a lot about this movie, but there's still so much more in this movie that we didn't talk about. And you can go and see it and still really enjoy it. Like I said, I'm a little bit more hardcore than Magellan is, and so I had some expectations that weren't quite met, and part of that is my fault. You know, being such a hardcore fan, I wanted to see some stuff take place, but it's a good movie. You know, 4.5 out of 5 in my opinion.
5.
And my biggest gripe was the Star Killer base, but other than that, everything else was great.
Amazing.
So, but that's it. That's all I got. Go check it out. I'm gonna go check it out a second time as soon as I can. Take my wife to go see it and just enjoy it, man. I think this time when I go to see it, I'm gonna be able to sit back and kind of enjoy it because I don't have to process so much.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to look at it, man. Just go into it open-minded. You're gonna, in a movie that's really good, you're gonna want to think, and that's what it makes you do. It makes you think, who's this? Who's that? Do we find out this? And you're just rolling, and before you know it, I mean, 2 hours and 15 minutes goes by, and you're like, dude, it's over? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
and I felt that way.
And
yeah.
I mean, I knew it was going to happen, but enjoy the movie. Go in. My advice is go in open-minded. Don't try to think too much and just enjoy it. And then whenever you do it, process it all afterwards. Go online and look at spoilers and facts and, you know, all the conspiracy theories and everything on it, and just enjoy the movie, man. But that's it. Episode 9, two-parter.
One take.
Episode 9 of Fantasy Friends. I guess we just love Star Wars. We couldn't end it at an hour.
There you go. See us next week when we'll talk about this and that. Thank you for listening.
Later.